So we're sitting here in Charleston, South Carolina today, and what I want to talk to you about is a very, very common social sticking point that I've seen, to where if you're at an intermediate level in your social skills, you could be talking to somebody and your voice is just really, really crisp and clear. You're very, very, very funny. You're very, very, very talkative. You've got a lot of energy and chemistry with the other person going on. But for whatever reason, you might notice that as soon as you stop talking and you stop entertaining them, they kind of just get bored and walk off. And this is something that I've seen with a lot of my intermediate level clients, to where, let's say it's you, I'm watching you talking to somebody, you look great, you look really confident, you look awesome, you're in state, you're in the flow, but then as soon as you don't just keep feeding that interaction, the person that you're talking to just walks off. And it's frustrating because you're thinking, I'm doing everything right, what is the problem here? So what I'm going to tell you, at least in my personal experience, is that the problem is that your time is simply too available. You simply look too available. And I'm going to try to show you a technique to beat this, but what I also want to show you is an overarching mindset that beats it, because usually what I like to do is show you the technique where you can immediately fix the issue, and I'll show that to someone very, very quickly, because I find that once they see that, it's kind of a paradigm shift. They're like, oh, this is what I was missing the whole time. I can fix it within 2 seconds. But let's be honest, techniques are never the ultimate thing to fix a sticking point in your social skills. It's typically more of a mindset so that you don't even have to use the technique. So what we're going to do next is we're going to break into the technique. I'm going to show you that, but then from there, I'm going to show you the overarching mindset, which will begin to get people to start valuing your presence, valuing your time, wanting to invest into you, and when you stop feeding energy in the interaction, in most cases, they're not just going to walk off and forget about you. So I'm going to tell you a funny and kind of embarrassing story to exhibit exactly what it is that I'm talking about here. I'm out here in the South, and the only reason I'm out here is because I want to bring my kids to Charleston and Savannah and Jekyll Island and around the South for a long time, okay? Atlanta's got an incredible aquarium there called Georgia Aquarium. Nashville has Broadway Street with all this musical history. So the only reason I'm in the South is just for my kids. Now, what I did was I threw on a couple of free events. I just did one in Charlotte. I've got one coming up this weekend in Atlanta, the following weekend in Nashville. I'm doing, Portland and Seattle after that. And you notice even with Portland and Seattle, these are smaller cities, and it's really just an excuse to bring my kids, okay? Portland and Seattle I'm doing because the Pacific Northwest is beautiful in summer. So when I do these events, these are major, major, major money losers because they're completely free 2-day seminars that I'm doing. And all that I want, if I'm going to bring my kids to these cities anyways, is for people to show up to the damn seminar. So somebody comes up to me on the street in Charlotte and he goes, oh, I'm your biggest fan. I love seeing you, man. I'm so happy. And I'm like, bro, I came to Charlotte. I came to Charlotte. You missed the free event. I was in Charlotte, bro. Charlotte, I'm here. What are you thinking? And it's pissing me off because I know that this guy, at least from my point of view, would have the potential to learn things at the free event that would make him twice the amount of money that he's currently making, probably help him to get a way, way better significant other, probably teach him how to get spiritually tapped in. He'd be much, much happier. I've come all the way across the country by fluke coincidence because I want to bring my kids to the South. Can you just show up? So I look at him and I go, bro, you gotta get signed up. Go to the Atlanta one. The Atlanta one's this week. Go to the Atlanta one. Go to the Nashville one. What are you doing? What are you doing? And I'm just pissed off, but I was kind of funny and relatively nice about it. Anyway, he looks at me, and you can tell that in that moment, he thinks he's being fucking scammed. And the hilarious part is, I could never have met him. My life would be no different. I'm just trying to share good vibes. That's all that it is. Just want to share a couple good vibes. If I'm going to do this anyway, then I would like him to actually get the benefit. That's all that it is. But he's looking at me like I'm trying to take something from him. Why is this? And I fell in this, I'm literally watching myself as a social skills expert, seeing myself going into this weird sinkhole with this guy, and realizing that I'm not following my own rules that I would use in social interaction. Well, here's what it is. Have you ever been out and you're socializing, you're just talking to people, and you're really just doing it to spread good vibes and good energy? And you're actually enjoying spreading good vibes and good energy, just like me when I'll do the Atlanta free event this weekend. I just want to share good vibes and good energy. But what winds up happening is that because you're so pushy on it, it makes it wind up looking shady. And that is what's happening to you when you're out, is that people don't value that which comes too easily. Because if you're coming across as having your value up here, and then you're just pushing that value onto somebody, from their point of view, they're like, well, if you have all this value, and I have only value down here, then why are you trying to shove this down my throat like some kind of foie gras duck? And so what happens is that you're kind of, it would be kind of like if I said, hey, I've got $100 million for you. All you've got to do is just go into this little post office box over in Atlanta. And I keep saying that to you over and over, right? And I'm like, come on, go do it, go do it. And you're like, well, why do you want me to do this? Like, what's your deal? Like, why do you want me? Like, why don't you just go take it if it's so great? I'm like, oh, I just like giving. I'm just a giving person. Now go get the damn money out of the P.O. box in Atlanta. You see what's going on here? It can't register with the person as actually making sense, and it makes it look like it's not as valuable as it actually is. So I see this with students sometimes on the trainings where they go out and they're talking to somebody, and like, I mean, let's just give them all the stereotypes. The student could be, and again, you don't need this, because I certainly don't, but I'm just gonna give you all the stereotypes. 6'2", maybe even 6'3" or 6'4", very physically attractive, very, very funny, very, very confident, very, very talkative, is frankly doing everything perfect. Like maybe they're rich. Again, nobody really knows they're rich, but the point is, let's just say, I'll see cases like this, and they're doing everything so well. They're just trying to add value to the other person. It makes them feel good to add the value, but here's the funny thing. Even if you're somebody who you just feel good adding value, if you do not allow that other person to invest into what it is that you're doing, or at least have some kind of a demeanor air about you that your time is valuable, if you don't have those things, what's going to wind up happening is they're going to sense that something is off, and they're going to be put off by you. So that is what we're leading into next. How exactly, what is the technique that can fix this? But then again, like I said, what is the overarching mindset that makes you not even need the technique? That's what's next. Okay, so here's how this plays out when I'm doing training. You're talking to somebody, they're super into you, and then as soon as you stop talking, they walk off. What little tweak do I make to immediately fix it? The simple tweak is a basic qualification. In other words, what you do is, rather than making your metric for how well the social interaction is going, if they're laughing and giving you the big Bambi eyes and being into you, so to speak, rather than looking at that as the metric, instead what you're going to do is you're going to take little pauses and see if they reinitiate. Or you're going to take little pauses and then say, I'm not sure about you. Or maybe you'll make little jokes like, you're having a lot of fun, but you're not sure if you should run away. Or maybe you make little jokes that you have a little bit too much in common and it's beginning to freak you out and you think that you'd butt heads and start fighting. So basically what you do is, at some point, you have to use some kind of a qualifier, and don't just keep pumping energy into the social interaction and then thinking if they're being receptive that that's perfect. Rather, either take little pauses and do what's called a vacuum and then see if they'll actually reinitiate, or tease them a little bit and see if they'll try to maybe tease you back or be playful back or whatever, or do a very, very, very hard qualifier and see if they'll be at a point where they would actually like to jump through that hoop, okay? So, in other words, the key being, just because you think that it's going well, put it to a little bit of a stress test, okay? Just like if you have a boat and you think the boat is good, put the boat in the water and see if it floats. See if the interaction is actually holding while you're talking to that person, okay? Oh, you're from Cincinnati? I don't know. I don't know about Cincinnati. Why? Why don't you like Cincinnati? And then see if they'll actually present a case for why Cincinnati is good. And if they're not willing to add any energy to the interaction, and as soon as you pull back a little bit, they just walk off, that shows that what happened there is that even though you might have incredible vocal tone, vocal projection, pitch, cadence, variability in the way that you're using your voice, super interesting, super confident, great eye contact, great body language, really good at carrying a conversation, everything's going awesome. In spite of all that, what's happening to you is that they're not invested, and you're not even giving them the chance to invest. Now, what's funny about this too, if you think about it, is that the investment is actually looping against your favor. It's actually going out of favor, because as you're adding life and energy into the conversation, you're going, I'm killing this. I'm killing this. I am awesome. But are they thinking that they're awesome? So the more that you think that you're awesome, the more that you're looking for that little puppy treat that maybe they would want to meet up again, or maybe they want to go do something fun that day or night. But they haven't got to that point. They're not invested. So to them, it's almost like they're watching a television channel, and at any second, they could just change the channel, okay? So that's the basic exercise that you can do. It's actually a very, very simple exercise, a lot of fun. Just simply pull back a little bit or put a hard qualifier, and again, shift your focus from them just looking like they're loving it, as in just maybe watching a television show that they love. They could change the channel any second, but they have no investment in, because it's just a passing stimulus. It's not a human to them. Test and see if they view you as a human. Test and see if they actually care how the social interaction is going. Okay, now from there, what we'll do is we'll go into the overarching mindset that fixes this, because even though that fun little game is great, why don't we talk about the overarching mindset that's going to fix everything? Okay, so I'm going to show you the exact shift in mindset that's going to make it to where oftentimes you don't even need to use those qualifiers to get it to where somebody wants to invest in you, because there's just a shift in your energy and in your vibe that handles that without any form of a social technique. It's just a change in your vibe. Now, here's what it is. I'm going to lead in with a story, just like I did with the other ones. So this morning I woke up, and there was somebody who I spent the week with last week, who I just started seeing, and that week was so awesome and so insane. And I'm sitting out here in the South without this person, and I keep thinking about him, and I keep looping on them and looping on them and looping on them and looping on them, and I can't stop thinking about them, right? And I'm like, geez, I gotta get this out of my head, because I've got so much work to do. I want to spend time with my children. I don't want to be thinking about somebody else, even though they're awesome, they deserve it, but I want to actually focus on what it is I'm doing. But I notice I just can't get this person out of my head. So then, and this was just a weird coincidence, I happened to wake up today at about 5 a.m. before everybody had woken up, before my kids had woken up. And I sit there and I start going through my schedule for the next 2 years. And typically, I have every single event that I'm going to do scheduled for 2 years. But I've got this very laid out schedule that shows different events that I'm doing, different products that I'm working on, different videos that I'm working on, different shoots that I have scheduled, different vacations that I have scheduled. I mean, and this thing, like, I'm making it sound not that bad. This thing is bad. Okay, if you were to actually look at the schedule, you'd probably feel bad for me, although probably would enjoy some of the outcomes that would get. So as I'm sitting there, I notice that my looping on this amazing person from last week just stopped. And it's not that I don't care about this person. I just have other priorities right now. And I didn't realize that until I actually did my schedule. And it really got me thinking about students of mine that are learning social skills, where that student can be talking to somebody and they're doing amazing, voice amazing, eye contact amazing, body language amazing, super talkative, super confident, super high status, super funny. But the energy is just like, oh, they're enjoying it so much that the other person's thinking, why me? Like, why me? I don't have to try. And here's what they're also thinking. Meh, I could walk off and this person would be waiting here to keep giving me more energy, even if I walk off, right? Almost like if you're, I don't know, watching something on Netflix and you know, and it's amazing and it only costs you like $10 a month, and then this thing that you're watching is life-changing, but you know that you can just press pause and you can come back and see it any time, right? There's no scarcity on it. There's no value on it. So the example that I've often given is that in Los Angeles, we have Disneyland within a 45-minute drive. We have the Hollywood sign within a 20-minute hike. But almost nobody's ever hiked to the Hollywood sign, and almost nobody's ever been to Disneyland because they know they can go anytime. It's just like, oh, it's always there. But meanwhile, if somebody flies in from Japan, immediately they go to Disneyland, immediately they go to the Hollywood sign, and it's the biggest deal in the world because they know they have a limited time. It's a limited time offer, and they've spent money to be there. So these are the people they're going to see oohing and awing over the freaking Hollywood sign, or over the, and just to be on a second-rate Disney World compared to the second-rate Disneyland compared to the Orlando Disney World. So what's happening is you're that amazing Hollywood sign that people from Japan will come and see if they value it and if it's scarce and limited, but somebody out of LA just doesn't care because they know that it's always there. That's become you. So you need to have a shift in that vibe. Well, what created the shift in that vibe even for me today, to be honest with you, was just looking at my schedule. So I think what happens is that when we don't have a real value for our own time, we just have too much free time to ruminate on whoever it is that we like. Or let's say that you've managed to actually put aside a couple hours a night to work on your social skills, or a day to work on your social skills. And it's sort of like a big deal to you. It's like, okay, like I want to crush this. So you're going out to work on social skills and you sort of have an outcome that you want to crush it. Well, what's weird is if you were a regular person who wasn't actively improving your social skills and you were just talking to somebody, probably if you had as much value as you have, and in most cases you probably have more value than most people that you talk to, because if you're a high value person, that's just common. You wouldn't be putting out that energy that you care that much. They would have to contribute something back for you to care. But because you have this mission in your mind to work on your social skills, you just wind up giving so much energy away. And so I think the key is, continue to work on your social skills, because that is where the improvements happen. But there has to be an understanding of frame. And the best way to get control of the frame, sure, it can be something like using a qualifier, like we said in the last shooting location. But I think also it's just simply having a schedule and realizing my time is not that available. And, that was kind of where I went wrong, actually, with the guy that I was talking to about the Atlanta Free Tour coming up this week and the Nashville Free Tour coming up. Was I was just so excited to be out there sharing and helping. If I'm in the city anyway, might as well make a free tour. But then from his point of view, it's like, why do you want to help me this bad? Right? It's like, I just want to help you. If I'm going to come here anyway, I want to help you, right? It's like, you go out to the club, you're like, well, if I'm going to go out to the club anyway, I want to put a smile on a lot of people's faces. Just let me put a smile on your face. But the problem is that you're not giving them the opportunity to win it, right? What if I've been talking to that guy and I said, I didn't, start going, come to Free Tour, come to Free Tour, come to Atlanta, come to Nashville. What if I'd said, hey, I'm enjoying this conversation. I can see you have a lot of potential. What do you think? Then he said, yeah, I really do feel like I have a lot of potential. I said, what are you missing? Yeah, I wish I had a bit of a mentor. I wish I had some help. I could see you maybe being a good fit. We're doing an event in Atlanta coming up. I might be able to comp you in there. I don't know. You see me... Part of me feels like maybe you're not ready. I don't know if you're ready. Right? No, I'm ready. All right, I'll put you on the list for Atlanta. Right? If it had been something like that. Now, what's so annoying about this is like, if you feel like me, in your mind, you're like, I just want to help people. Why do I have to do all this nonsense, right? But you know how this goes. Human beings are often, in all of us, so whatever, et cetera, in our primitive wiring. And because we're in that primitive wiring, we have millions upon millions of years of evolution, and it just kind of runs us. And that's why a fluffy, doughy, gooey pizza tastes better than a raw piece of broccoli for most people. Maybe not for you, okay? You're cool. But you know my point. Okay, that's just why that is. So maybe do them a favor, right? If you're going to try to give someone some broccoli, maybe you put a little bit of fluffy dough around it, a little bit of chocolate around it, or you take the metaphor however you want. You see where I'm going with this? So you're actually helping them to consume something that's better for them if you allow them a little bit of space where they can also connect to it too, right? So almost imagine it like it's almost like previously it was like this is you and this is the other person. There's two spaces. But in fact, what's been happening is there's actually three spaces. There's you, the other person, the space in between. And what you're doing is you're just jumping in the space and taking all of it. It's like if I jumped in that fountain back there and I just start running in circles around. I'm like, it's my fountain, my fountain. I'm like, but how come you don't come in too? It's like, well, Owen, you're just running around splashing in all of it. Maybe pissing in it and taking a shit in it, whatever the case. Well, I want to jump in too, but you're taking all the space. So you have to also allow them some space in that little pool between the two of you for them to come in and to meet you where you're at, and then both of you can kind of move up together. So like I said, if you have that sticking point to where you are, because look, if you're new and you don't know how to talk yet, well, then you got to fix that. This is a step beyond that, right? If you're new and your eye contact sucks, if you're new, your body language sucks, if you're new, your vocal projection sucks, if you're new, you get nervous to talk to people, well, then maybe just fix that for now. But if you're at an intermediate level and you're smashing out there and you're like, look, I know I'm smashing it. What is it about me to where I'm this gregarious and fun to talk to, and I know that I am, but they seem to walk off? It is due in most cases, in many cases at least, to lack of investment. So try that first exercise of instead of just saying, oh, they're receptive, it's good. No, go, no. Test it a little bit to see if they'll contribute. Try that from the jump. But the second one is just start creating a schedule. Okay? Fill your life with more stuff. And you'll find that if you do your vibe changes to where it's not that you're even trying to be suspicious of somebody burning your time. You literally just don't have it. And you literally are a lot more discerning in how you spend your time. People feel that from you. It's an energy. And it shifts in little things like your voice might have a slight sense of annoyance in it, or a slight sense of like a downward sloping tonality, right? Rather than, hey, how's it going? It's, hey, how are you doing? Kind of a little bit guarded, and then they feel that they have to kind of get through that wall a little bit too, and that's kind of fun for them to get through your wall. Well, just like how when you initiate a social conversation, you had to be proactive, they want to be proactive too. They want to play around a little bit too, okay? So I hope that makes sense. I hope that that helps you. And in the meantime, I'm going to keep enjoying this tour of the South with my family. I hope that you're having an awesome, awesome, awesome day. And I'll be back with more soon. Peace.